What's up, everyone, and welcome to the 33rd episode of the Envision Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Braz Gaming, and as always, I'm joined by Clown Joe
Hello, everyone.
and Triple Bravo.
Howdy, folks.
So, this week's topic is actually going to be on the future of VR, what our thoughts are on that, where we tend to see it going. And the question of the week is going to be our worst VR experiences.
We interrupt this program to bring you the Envision Podcast, starring our intrepid heroes, the crew of the Envision ship. Abandoned as a kid, Bravo was found by Joe, who lives in the middle of nowhere with his papa, Brad. But goofy stuff happens when you're gaming, and it's up to 3 goobers to save the day.
This is us. Our faces. Our rooms. The physical
yes.
creatures that are Brad, Joe, and Bravo.
Joe being
Here.
the most important.
Together. Forever. Okay?
For you.
You,
and me.
the new outline, the new look. We're in space. It's pretty freaking cool.
Off to a good start.
And cut.
And hit. The editors are cut. So since I'm already talking, I'll just go first. This is my office, my room. You have a flag that I've had since I was a wee boy. A rocking chair that's been in my family for 2 generations. Some Warhammer posters. We've got a Titan, a Grey Knight, and another Titan, and a Lord of the Rings poster.
Remember the
that's
Titans.
Basic Bravo right there. Oh, a chair which matches the dining set in my dining area. That's also been in my family for 2 generations and reupholstered. Look,
Like
it's
2
sleek.
generations, like your mother or father and then you?
No, like my grandparents.
That would be 3 generations.
Do you count the base, like the current
You're the
generation?
3rd generation, yeah.
But it hasn't done the full generation.
But it made it to you, and if you had it longer than like a minute,
Yeah.
well then now
But
it's in the 3rd
it's
generation.
been through 2 generations, and now it's on
I mean,
the 3rd.
As long as you've had it, it's been partially through the 3rd generation.
All I
3
want to say
generations.
is that you try to pawn the chair off onto me, so it clearly
Oh,
doesn't matter that much.
The rocking
Yeah.
chair?
Yeah,
All
he's
of
So-
the
like,
cares.
So mom was like, Mama Bravo was like, I'm getting rid of my furniture, blah, blah, blah. Do you want the rocking chair? If not, it's going in the garbage. I'm like, first off, donate it. Secondly, why are you getting rid of the chair?
It's a good chair. It
You,
rocks.
you rocked all the little bit. It's super comfortable. I couldn't let her get rid of it, so now it just sits in my office. Like
He's
that.
a hoarder, folks.
I did try, like, if it went to a good cause, like people actually gonna rock their babies, that's cool. But nobody
I'll
will
rock,
take anything from me.
I'll rock coconut in that thing. He'll be.
and
Where
He
is
mu-
And-
I wonder if he'll make an appearance.
then one time
He's gonna
I'm gonna
bust
look
through that door.
I'm gonna look behind you and your cat's just gonna like just destroy
just-
my memories.
That is basically my cat. Yes,
Yeah.
he is.
Brad, what you got back there? What's got a lot of
Well,
books? Those are books, right? You're a reading man.
books? Yeah, a lot of books. Yeah, the Diablo bust that I was talked into buying that I won't take out of the box because
That's nice.
I don't know how much Bethany's gonna like the bust of the devil sitting in the house. So the box is at least cool.
Mm-hmm.
The old Silent Hill pictures that look like a glare. The OG, it's Venusaur, Charizard, Blastoise, and Machamp.
Oh, I see him now. Yeah.
Top boys. And then just a whole bunch of
the collection?
collection. Dumbbells.
For getting thick.
Getting
Yeah.
getting thick in
We-
the
We've never
Some
seen
year.
33 episodes, folks. He's never picked him up.
They've
ever.
been sitting there
No.
since.
No.
Even before the move, they've been sitting there.
Yeah. I had a moving them was tough. I'm pretty weak, so it's rough. But that's I don't know. I got more stuff over here.
Let's.
I'll pull one thing.
When are you
This is
getting the
pretty
disc
cool.
plates out, huh? When are we getting the disc plates out?
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Anyways,
Your
disc
walls
plates.
are very white.
Yeah.
We got Brad a Christmas gift, but he refuses to hang them.
a little BioShock disc plate.
Refuses to hang them.
God of War. They're pretty dope.
Yeah, they got a
Um,
warm one.
I want to obviously hang them. I'm just lazy. And at some point, I also have a lot of shelving stuff that I got for Christmas that I'm going to be putting up on the walls to free up this space down here. So I'm going to put like a couch or something. Just something to actually have like a sitting area in here.
For Bigglesworth.
Yeah.
I got a nice seat for you.
I could use that. I'll be rocking around in that thing. They are comfortable. My mom has one, and it is, I don't even know how she managed it. It is like completely destroyed. The right arm is snapped off, and it like sits sideways, especially if I sit in it. I mean, that thing is clearly not meant for a man of my stature.
So I sit like a potato whenever I'm playing video games, but I had a like computer chair that literally by the time I was done with it was sloped like this. So I had like stuff with pillows into the arm so I could actually sit on it.
Oh, my old I bought a cheaper computer chair a while back, when I was at the old apartment, and it was like I was on like, I don't even know, one of those when you go to the park and you get those like little animals you can sit on and they like
Oh yeah, you just like
yeah, it's like a little spring and you just rock side to side. That's essentially how the chair was. I have no idea. There was like this metal piece and it was just completely torn in the center. And I was just rocking all over the place. I couldn't sit straight up at all. It was
now I want to
miserable.
see Brad go to like a kid's park and just sit on one of those things as like a 200+ pound man and just go.
Oh, I will. I've done it before, and I will do it again. I will kick a kid off to get on it also.
Oh. But anyway, I got a whole mess behind me, but we'll start off with Spyro here. He's meant to hold the Switch. The Switch is not currently at my house, so he's holding the Switch like handheld thing. And then I got an awesome Jinx from League of Legends from Bravo here as a gift.
Merry Christmas.
And then yeah, I got like all of my consoles and whatnot on a TV stand here. I got some of my disc plates up in front of a TV just because I didn't feel like hanging them because I'm about to be moving. And then I got all of my Zelda collection and all a bunch of random stuff over there. It's gonna be reorganized, but in the moment it's condensed.
Joe is the resident Ron Weasley of the group. He lives in the fifth story of his home.
I'm stuck in a closet.
Yeah.
So where were we? We got interrupted with the question of the week, right?
Yeah. Worst experiences for VR that we've experienced, right? So, bravo.
Yeah, Joe.
Joe? Bravo?
Brad! Sounds
Anyway.
like you're going first.
Whoa, Brad.
I'll go first if you want me to go.
Yeah, go first. Go first,
All
Brad.
right. So, I got two because they're both relatively quick. But the first one was literally the first time I ever put a VR headset on. So I was really excited about the PSVR originally, and I remember I kept talking about how I wanted to find a Best Buy that was actually having like one of the testing areas so you can go there and actually test out the VR headset. So finally it came to our area and I was working and I was like, do I really want to, am I going to go out of my way? Is it really that big of a deal? Do I care that much? Of course I went to. So middle of work, I went to Best Buy and waited in line. There was like one person ahead of me They clean it up. And they're like, all right, well, what do you want to do? And there's like a couple options. I can't remember all of them. And they go, the space one is the most immersive one. I'm like, all right, well, I guess we're doing the space one. Well, let me tell you, one, I'm not a space boy. And like, not being in VR, watching flight stuff in games when like the world flips and everything about kills me. I get nauseous like even thinking about it. I put this thing on. It was 10 minutes I had, and I was trying. I was like, I never again. I'm like, this is what VR. I can't do it. So I was like nauseous for like 2.5 hours. But then the next time I actually put a VR headset on was probably a month into Bethany and I talking. She was talking about how she played a VR thing and she wanted to get one. So she got the Oculus Quest 2. And we picked it up, brought it to her house, and she's like, oh, I used to play Super Hot. That was it. So she was playing it. I was watching her. And after, like, but I was like embarrassed because I've never touched a VR other than that time I almost threw up. So I'm like, I don't know about this. So then she left to go to work. I had, I think I had the day off or something.
Just see Brad.
So she
the
goes,
VR headset on the desk in front of him and him just staring it down.
Well, she told me, she's like, oh, you could play it if you want. So, play the VR while I'm gone. I'll be back in a bit. I'm like, all right. So
so she got you on the nanny cam, right?
Yeah, I put the VR headset on. And like I said, I mean, it was like a month and a half in maybe or something like that. And her old house, ceilings were probably about this high, like when I stood up. So I'm playing Super Hot, and I don't know. I killed the guy, and this gun went flying, and I went to grab it, and I went, wham! As hard,
fist through ceiling,
literally as hard as I could. I punched that ceiling, and I stopped, and I was like, God. And I thought I put a hole right in the ceiling. I really did, and surprisingly, I did not. And then about 2 seconds later, I tried to hold myself up with the actual virtual wall that was in front of me, and I fell forward on my face. That was my experience. Though. It was pretty good.
That's awesome.
All right, Bravo second.
So I have a Vive, and I back in my old house, I played it all the time. This house a little bit smaller, don't really have the room to do it, so I haven't even set it up yet. But I, similar to Brad, whenever I first started playing VR, like your body has to like calibrate to it. It seems like, because I jumped right in and was playing like space simulator games, and I think it was Elite Dangerous. So I'm learning the game, flying around, and I felt sick, so I took the dang thing off, and I just like laid on the ground until I like my inner ear like recorrected. It was a strange experience, and like the more you play VR, the kind of more used to it you get. But years later, Skyrim VR comes out, and I decided I'm gonna play this game only in VR. Like you can play it regular if you want, but I was like, I'm just gonna play it in VR. So I'm fully immersed, crouching down because you got to get your sneak up, you got to get the sneak damage, and I'm crouching around this dungeon, so I'm using locomotion and then using my physical movement to like get the finer details, like peek around a rock, whatever. Well, I'd been playing for like an hour, so apparently I had moved slightly off center, just slowly, and I come around this rock and I shoot this guy and he doesn't die, and he turns around and starts to swing at me, so I dodge, so I just like sidestep, and there's another guy, so he scares me, and I'd already engaged like all the leg muscles, so my first reaction was just full lunge, like just all reaction, and I was like 3 inches from my wall, so I just like as hard as physically possible lunged my whole body head first into my wall, crouching down, and I just like crumbled my headset into my face and like slid down the wall like a cartoon, And my roommates, like, they come around the corner like, you okay? And I'm like, I'm good, bro. I'm super good. It did end up damaging the wall, which I fixed. But, you know, the headset luckily seems pretty rugged. I haven't had any issues with it. My face, obviously, you can see
It's
problems.
done some lasting damage.
Yeah, but that was my story.
All right. So I had to dig a bit for mine because I haven't gotten motion sick from a VR headset, and I've played like through all of Resident Evil 7. I've played through like the Until Dawn like track shooter game.
Rush for Blood or something like
Yeah,
that?
Rush of Blood, whatever
like
it is.
that.
But yeah, I've played through that, which is like an on-rail shooter, which is actually really cool for anybody who's interested. But I got the PSVR like right after release. I was super excited for it to come out. But I realistically, it's sitting in a bag over there right now, and it's been there since like a month after release.
Mm-hmm.
But my brother actually got a VR for the PC, and we set it up in like the living room because there's more space naturally than a bedroom. But we played this horror-ish game. It was like an atmospheric horror game, and like you go in, and you go down this elevator, and like you go through these hallways that like they keep turning, and it's like a never-ending hallway. But then you come to this door, and you open the door, and it just drops. And I'm deathly afraid of heights, and it makes you walk across like this little 2-inch beam like sideways, and you're like in this big factory. I don't know if you guys have played like Resident Evil 5. It's like the big factory with all of like the canisters where you find Jill missing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's dark, and being afraid of heights, and I'm like wobbling over like this 2-inch thing, like terrified to look down, like looking up in the air. Everyone in the room is laughing at me because I'm scared to do it. And I didn't know that was a thing, but my dad's even more afraid of heights than me, and he played it before, and apparently like through the headset. But when I was doing it, like I did it, and like for whatever reason, I looked down, and I immediately just panicked and like fell forward, just like flat onto the ground.
I thought you were gonna say, and then I pressed forward on the thumbstick.
I would have literally just gone straight into the fetal position.
I always want to.
It wasn't like a thumbstick. It was like you actually physically were walking it because we had the area set up, but our area was just too small, so we would like rub up on the couch to be able to keep ourselves in line.
Mm.
But yeah, it was physically walking.
What they should have
which made
done
it
is
even worse.
You should have put like a little like piece of plywood or something. You had to like walk on.
Yeah, and then if you step off, you just
or 2x4 or something. Yeah. But yeah,
So
I
yeah,
always
let's.
wondered. Oh, go ahead.
Go. No, you go. You go
Yeah.
ahead.
All right, thank you. I was gonna
I don't
say
know
I
which
always,
side Bravo is anymore.
I always
on the top.
wondered when.
Yeah, but like which way to me?
Oh, I forgot.
We'll figure it out.
Anyways,
Just
Should I go
talk-
now?
Yeah, Brad. You can
jeez.
you can
All
think
right.
about it.
So
So Bravo, how have you been doing?
I'm out.
Bye.
The So when people, kind of similar to what you said, when people like, they look down, but they'll jump, like they're like, oh, it's a skydiving simulator or something like that, and they jump actually,
Mhm.
you know, or something like that. I was like, what are they thinking? They know they got a headset on, like they clearly,
You just get into it. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Once you're
It's just
in it-
like, yeah, when you're caught in the moment, man.
yeah, like whenever I like once that door opened and dropped, everything was just like, oh, this is real. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm scared. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I'm walking.
Still haven't had like an actual scare moment from it, sadly.
I haven't had like I've played mostly horror games. Like I've played a Paranormal Activity, I've played Resident Evil 7, I've played a there was another scary one I played. But literally that door falling and just looking down was the scariest experience I've had.
Hmm. All right. So, unless we got any other experience
Yeah,
stuff to talk
I
about,
don't think I've been scared in a VR except for like the
the
story.
wall.
But he also doesn't play horror games, so
True.
No.
But yeah, we can move on. Talk about our thoughts for the future of VR. I think Bravo, you actually came up with this idea, so I'll let you
Yeah,
lead the way.
So kind of segueing what we were talking about there. Let's talk about our experience with VR. I know we kind of did just then, but my all of my experience is with the HTC Vive. I've never touched a PlayStation VR, and I've put on the Oculus, the first gen Oculus, one time to play a racing simulator game at a friend's house. So it's like pretty limited. But I've been really into the VR stuff since it came out. I got the Vive pretty early on, and enjoyed it ever since. What about you guys?
Joe, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so like I said, I got the PSVR like on release.
Mm-hmm.
Was super excited about it. Played a ton of it right away. Played through all of Resident Evil 7 in VR. My brother has one of the Oculus. It's not like the wireless ones, the Facebook ones. It's like a PC setup one. I don't know the exact models or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I believe I used a friend of mine has. I think it's the HTC Vive, but I could be wrong. I'm not 100% familiar with all the different models because there's so many that all came out really quick. And I was just like, I have PlayStation because I don't have a PC that could run or the space.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've really, really liked my experience with all three. I think they all had like a plus or minus to it, but I have played quite a bit of them.
I played only the PSVR and Oculus Quest 2, and after playing the Oculus Quest 2 that super hot day when I punched the ceiling, I was like sold on it. I'm like, this is awesome. And then I was like, oh yeah, PlayStation has a VR thing. That would been due to me collecting PlayStation stuff and whatnot. I was like, I'll pick it up at some point or whatever. And I ended up picking it up like a few weeks later. Because I was like, I could use it to play like Super Hot plus Beat Saber and whatnot. And I messed around with it for a while. Yeah, Beat Saber is probably one of the best games.
That's what I played on the Vive, and they had like the mod where you could put in your custom music.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely the best experience.
So after that, I basically didn't really touch it too much. And then once we moved here, like I also didn't think I had enough room. And then once I bought it, I was like, I'll make the room. So I just like moved my furniture, like cleared out the entire living room, and I would like move everything back afterwards. Pretty inconvenient, but I was like, yeah, well, why not? It's not like I hang out in here that much. And it was good, but the PlayStation VR is significantly worse than the Oculus Quest 2. Like
Really?
Like almost night and day. Yeah. PSVR's like price point, I think. Well, actually, not even price point now, but I think at the time it was just like the best priced one, and then once they came out with this one,
yeah, it was the best priced, and it had. I mean, it was PlayStation. You could play games that already existed on it, a la Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, exactly. And they had some exclusive stuff like the Until Dawn one that we were talking about.
Yeah.
But when I put that on, I mean, the fact that you don't have any wires, like you just charge it, put it on.
It's game changer, the wireless.
Yeah, and like the fact that there's no camera, right? So the PSVR, you have to use the camera, and all you have to do is, so with Super Hot as the example, right? So you have the controllers here, and you're pointing it. Well, if there's a guy behind you and you go like this, all of a sudden the camera doesn't detect the controller.
Yeah.
So those were the big differences to me. And on top of that, the resolution in the eyes was terrible. I mean, I'm probably significantly worse vision now after playing it. But yeah,
it gets the job done.
It definitely was cool for a bit, but I'm excited to see what the new ones are going to be like. It's going to be significant, which kind of goes, I guess, along with the future.
Yeah, it does. So you have something else to say?
No, I was going to say, yeah, so future.
So before we get into that, I also want to know what your favorite VR games are. And I've got a list here. We all know Beat Saber is up there for all of us.
Yep. Yeah.
I think Space Pirate Trainer is one of my favorites because it's just like a wave simulator, and I love the wave simulator style games, like increasingly more difficult enemies, and it's just kind of like your skill versus them. And in VR, it's really your skill versus them, which is pretty cool. I also really like Elite Dangerous, which is like the most immersive space sim that I've played. It's got some issues that force me to not want to play it anymore, but that's a different story. And then Orbis VR, which is like the first MMO RPG, and I got in on that sucker early, and it has changed so much. I I have a friend that I played VR with a lot, and him and I would literally like we get our little stools and we put it in our play area, like where we know where it's at. You just reach out and grab it, and we'd go to like various different ponds and like get our stools out and sit down and fish in VR, but then have a virtual machine. I can't remember what it's called, but you can like display screens and interact with your regular screens in VR. So I would watch Netflix with this screen that I could like adjust and put anywhere and fish in this game and just like gain experience. It was so
That's
cool.
pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Like the dream right there. Just...
But it gets a little worse. So, you know, your headset, it's not too heavy, but it can get heavy. So the screen going from here, you know, and fishing turns into this, where the screen's down and you're just like, you're just blind casting, looking down at your feet because it's the most comfortable. It's yeah, but Orbis has like I don't even recognize the towns or the things in and around them because they've completely rebuilt the map and stuff. It's pretty cool. What about you guys?
Go ahead, Joe.
Okay. So realistically, even though I've played a bunch of VRs, I haven't played many games. Obviously Beat Saber's up there just because it's basically the best thing on VR right now.
Mm-hmm.
But my two favorite games realistically are probably going to be Resident Evil 7 because that game was top to bottom designed to be played in VR in my opinion. And then Phasmophobia, and there's a bit of a theme. They're both horror games, and realistically I think horror is going to be the genre that like is most beloved in VR. I'm not big into like just standard horror games, like just playing PC. I like my survival horror like Resident Evil, Silent Hill, but I feel like actual horror games are what's going to take VR to the next level.
Yeah, horror definitely is like the thing that thrives the most. I feel like on VR, other than Beat Saber, because Beat Saber is like, oh, remember all those rhythm games? Yeah, let's do that.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely love how Beat Saber released, and then not even 24 hours later, they're like, somebody made a mod to import any music you want and make and generate your songs. That's super weird.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Well, that's definitely the perk to having one of the PC versions of.
Yeah.
Like, I wish we could do that for ours.
Mm-hmm.
But they do release stuff, and it's like, well, we enjoy it enough. It might as well support them. So why not? They're not that expensive.
Yeah, most of their default songs are bangers. Like they're pretty good.
There's
yeah.
Bethany and the stepdaughter are both nasty at Beat Saber. Like make me look like I am an infant child
Like
waggling around.
Seizure.
Yeah, like I'm like one of those wacky wave unflavorable guys. Yeah, I'm just sitting here flailing like a fish dying, and they look so calm. Like they're just everything's like perfect too,
efficient.
Yeah, and it's perfect, and they play it on like the hardest difficulty. I'm like, how do you do this?
And then there's me on easy. It's like,
yeah,
damn, I missed.
Me on easy, and I just swing as hard as I can and hit myself in the knee.
Have you guys watched any of the streamers that play Beat Saber that have like the full room set up? It's so cool.
Yeah.
No, I haven't actually.
Oh, I'll have to find you a clip.
Yeah, link me something.
It's like they're standing in Beat Saber. Like you see their body with the headset on and they're playing, but it looks like they're holding like lightsabers. But the whole room is like standing in
That's
Beat
awesome.
Saber, so the blocks go
Yeah.
behind them. I have no idea how it works, but it's awesome.
I actually did that for a little bit. I used to have a room that the whole room was green screen.
Is that what
And,
it is? Like the whole room's just green screen? That's...
A lot of people will, if they own their house, they will literally paint
Yeah,
the
yeah.
walls, floors, and ceiling the green color, and just have like this green screen. And then you have a virtual camera that is just another Vive camera that sits behind you, or not a Vive, webcam or whatever, and then it just like simulates that it's in there. And then the software that they use takes that camera and like puts a virtual camera in the game. There's not very many. Well, when I did it, there weren't very many games that were compatible with the with like the extra camera, but it's a pain in the dickens to to do it yourself, because you gotta like peel the headset off and like change little settings and do this and that. It was kind of a pain.
And then
but
recenter the camera.
the whole reason why I did it is because I wanted to do like space, like a spacefaring captain's log, you know, like where like the camera in my spaceship was like off to the side, and like I would just, you know, you do like the completely like role playing, like transporting people, you know, so you like do the whole what do the pilots say, you know, like
Welcome aboard, folks.
Yeah,
Please
welcome
buckle your
aboard.
seatbelts and...
flight's gonna be an hour
Don't
and
scream
37
whenever we
minutes long.
nosedive.
You know, stuff like that. I thought it'd be pretty cool, but the technology wasn't quite there for me.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's
my
tough.
two favorite games though weren't anything surprising, of just super hot, and one actually we didn't mention was Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes.
I was gonna, yeah.
I've completely forgot that was VR because I've played it so much out of VR.
Mhm.
It's a cool game. I like those kind of games though, so you know, not much to really say about it. I actually haven't played it too much, but it's definitely like a memorable one.
Yeah, I
that,
got pretty deep into it.
Yeah, I wish I could play it more actually. Like I wish I
We could play it whenever you want.
Mhm.
Yeah. Actually,
Yeah, we had.
Actually, it's a perfect way to
Yeah.
think about it.
Yeah,
Discord,
we
yeah.
me and the boys, we'd have like house parties, and we had these manuals, you know, printed out manuals for the game, and we'd like designate who did what, and there'd be a person in the middle like, "Come on, guys, I'm running out of time." Yeah, it's a good game.
And then you put an actual bomb in front of them.
Yeah, and then you
All
trip them. So yeah, let's take these games. So, in my opinion, VR currently thrives with immersion, and then like niche categories, like stationary or semi-stationary interactive games, right? So like your Super Hot kind of falls in that category. Space Pirate Trainer, Beat Saber, those kind of games where like you're in this one position and the activity comes to you. And then there's the other ones, which is like complete immersion, Resident Evil style games that really do well. And then there's like the edge case ones that have these I don't know how to call it. Like you have like fourth wall breaking interactions with the game that kind of like ruin the experience, right? So you have to like teleport around or locomote around, or
I hate the teleport. When I played the
Yeah.
Batman PSVR game, and it was all teleporting, and I was miserable.
I think the teleport's just there because people get sick if you. Some people do.
locomotion. Yeah.
They do, but I don't want to hear that as an excuse. Let me have the option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
The,
kind of like it. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say Resident Evil 4 actually did it well because they had like 4 different options that you could do. So
Yeah.
it definitely is a decent way to do it.
That's the way to go, to like give people the option with the current tech that we have. I think I prefer limited teleportation or locomotion, depending on how they do it, where like your offhand is just like where you point and move around. but also I really like when the teleport isn't infinite. Like it's almost got like a stamina bar, so you can't just like spam it and move around. The teleport is relative to like how fast your character can move, and if you do it a whole bunch, you start like teleporting fewer and fewer until you're just like basically doing locomotion but in a epileptic way.
Mhm.
Those are nice to like not break a game. I actually don't mind locomotion after getting used to it. It's kind of a little bit more immersive. But then again, you get those situations where you slide around everywhere, but slightly move, and then you jump headfirst into a wall. So you got to worry about that.
Yeah,
Just take all your walls down.
definitely like will not play a game that has the teleport feature in VR anymore. I absolutely hate it.
Yeah.
Let me, if I need to be moving and I can't just like physically walk the little bit and the game be designed for that, I would rather just like have a stick on. I know some of the controllers do, or like the
Mhm.
PlayStation. I would literally rather be holding the PlayStation controller to
Yeah.
move.
The the only time that I think it's all right is if there's like a canon reason why you do it. So the games like Quiver, which is like a spirit bow and arrow wave simulator game, where you physically like you point at the spot, like there's spots that you can teleport to, and there's enemies that like run towards the gate that you're trying to defend, and you can teleport around and like shoot them from different angles. So you're a spirit and you have to anchor to these specific points. So like I felt like that was a uh, pretty good reason why. But also you're not teleporting all the time. You just teleport to a spot, kill all the waves, and like push them back as much as possible. Then you might teleport again and keep doing that. So
Yeah.
it's not like a whole lot of teleporting if you're
Yeah, I mean
playing
that's
the game right.
probably like the situation that it would work in, but like I know Skyrim had the option that you could just point and teleport, and I would
Mm-hmm.
literally lose my mind.
Let me tell you, we're gonna make this game, by the way. Now I'm gonna lay out the scenario for you.
Okay. I'm engaged
Play-
800
100%.
by 600.
Isometric. Yeah. So you play as a mage, but you have no legs.
Okay.
So you have to teleport.
And the locomotion is just you just like dragging yourself
Yeah, you're just
around.
It just turns into a rowing machine. You just
Hey man, that Quiver game, oh man, I would play until my arm felt like I actually was shooting a bow for, an hour, because just doing the action, for 30 minutes, you get tired. And you're like, "Oh god, I got to stop, but there's enemies.
think
Still
the-
enemies."
So we're gonna. I'm gonna kind of bring it back to a little more on topic of the future. But one of the I think issues with VR is that you could cheese sometimes.
Yeah.
The stuff, right? So because it completely takes you out of the immersion, and then you're like, oh, well, this is more efficient, right? So
it was
let's
also
just
the
say,
same thing with like the Wii.
yeah, I remember the Wii. The whole thing was I was like, okay, I want to aim. You got a out like this, and you're shooting. But then you realize if you rest your arm on your leg, and you just kind of move, you just barely move your wrist, tiny bit. You can have this way more precise aiming. Or you just you like the Wii mote.
Yeah,
ways and stuff.
the biggest way I've noticed to cheese was Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. Like during the track, like 100-meter dash, it wants you to like run, but you could just sit there and go like,
Yeah.
and your character will just dart down and you break all the world records.
Yeah,
Same bolt over here.
when he uses the accelerometer. So like, melee combat games, you just let the controller drop and rest, and you go, and the sword just spins around. Yeah, and that's like super early VR. Now they have things like stamina, or like you can only attack X amount. You have to like follow a path. There's different stuff like that. But yeah, it does kind of.
They definitely have to
Break it.
figure out a way to make it like where you can't cheese it essentially. Like they have to just essentially track your entire motion and be like, okay, well, you're actually like this is what an actual swing is, so that's that counts. Instead of like swing,
So the way that Orna does it, the MMO, VR MMO, they take it from they do some physics where like it's the distance where your weapon was at to the creature, and that's how much damage. So if you want a heavy attack, you actually like bring your arm back and swing it, and if you just flick your hand, you're gonna do damage, but it's gonna be like half a point. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
The problem is now how many hits can I get in that time?
Yeah,
and is it going to be greater than one of these? Which I'm sure they might have figured that out.
Bonk.
Yeah. So for me, when I played Orna, like I was like, this is immersive, right? So I like would physically, like block and dodge and have fun with it. But if you wanted to cheese it, I'm sure you could.
Probably.
So you keep saying Orna. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Orna is the mobile game.
You're right. Orbis VR.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing, but I'm like,
he
maybe
said Orna, and I was like, God, how does mobile come into this?
Orbis VR. Yeah.
You put your cell phone like this, and
well, my sister actually had. She had one of those Samsung ones, and they gave her like the free headset where you put your phone on it, and it's like simulates VR. It was really weird, but it kind of worked.
Virtual Boy.
I've never seen one of those actually used.
Me either, but I have used it.
I don't know. Does it split your screen, or are you just like literally like so close to your phone that?
Yeah, it's literally you're so close to your phone that.
Figured it out.
That's ridiculous. Well, okay, so then you just turn your camera on, and now you're in VR everywhere you go. You just
Bravo.
Your phone.
You're breaking the fourth wall here. I get it.
That's AR. But back to the point of like movement in games. I don't know if you guys seen. They are designed or developed some new like over the shoe pieces, as opposed to like those big tracks where you had to like strap yourself in around the waist. But they made those shoes that essentially you're like air rollerblading.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Have you seen them at all, Brad?
I have not seen it,
Bravo
but I like
looks
the
like
idea.
He has.
Yeah.
I feel like that could be closer to the way, but I don't think that's it yet, because I literally just see somebody like myself falling off of a high point, and then I add like an extra 6 inches to me, so I'm able to punch the ceiling even easier.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like they're on the right path.
So, like I said, I was an early adopter of VR, and I love the industry. I love the immersion. Even talking about it right here, I'm like, okay, I finally need to like do some work in this room and get it to where I can play VR, because I'm like an inch away from touching the fan in this room, and I'm sitting down. Like, there's no way. I hit the fan standing up. Like, it's not.
If we rip the ceiling out.
Yeah. So maybe if I just like play sitting down, like I just can't stand up or something. I don't know.
We'll get you one of like those grade school like little scooters that you used to run your fingers over in. That's
honestly,
how you walk around.
Honestly, that wouldn't be a bad idea,
Oh my
because
gosh.
standing in
things.
VR is so exhausting.
I'm trademarking it now.
Yeah, maybe not.
I don't know why. But when you were describing those shoes, I was just thinking of like moon boots.
That's what they look like. They just wrap over your shoes. They're so weird looking.
The old moon boots.
Yeah, I mean,
I saw a girl walking around the mall in Albany with moon boots, and I was like, I haven't seen these. What are they called? The moon shoes, actually? Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Moon shoes said, yeah. Bethany pointed them out, and I was like, what am I looking at here? I haven't seen these.
Yeah.
They're real. That's just like Heelys. A friend
Yeah,
of mine like still wears Heelys around just to meme.
I
I
have a funny story about that. So when I was like 21, okay, I literally never saw Heelys ever before I was 21. Weird, I know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Are you like
I only
60?
saw no. So The other one, something similar to it, or remember the soap shoes where you can grind on. So the shoe essentially, where the arch of your foot was on both sides, right? So on like outside and inside of your foot, there would be like a little indent, and it would be like essentially you're supposed to grind on rails and curves.
Oh,
and
so
stuff
they're
like that.
metal.
Well, they weren't metal. I don't even know what the material would have been, but like I remember those back in the day. I don't remember anybody buying them, but I remember the commercials and stuff. And then I saw the Heelys on YouTube. Some guy was like doing it, and I thought it was hilarious. And I'm like, I'm gonna get a pair of these.
Oh god.
I bought a pair of them. It was like $40. It wasn't even that
They're
expensive.
not expensive at all.
Yeah. Let me tell you how hard it is.
It's such an awkward position.
It is one of the. I don't know if either I have some motor skill problems or something. Cause
Maybe a little bit of both.
probably, yeah. Because I could not balance on this thing to save my life. I was like full like nosedive every time I was trying to. I'd like be back. I'd fall backwards or go completely forward, face first in the cement.
Yep.
It was fun times. Anyways, off topic.
So yeah, I was an early adopter of VR, super passionate about the industry, and now we're at like generation 2.5 VR with like the haptic feedback suits and gloves and different variations and different investments you can make. Get your shoes, get the moon shoes and all that stuff. It's a lot, and if I can speak for me and the gamers in general, we're all ready to go from generation 2.5 to generation 5. Like, just get me there already, you know. Let me jack in, you know, hook up to the back of the head.
Go to my spinal column.
Yeah, interrupt the spinal column and just like become a limp potato and go fight dragons in VR. That's what we all want, and it's just not coming fast enough.
Of course it is. I mean, I'm hoping that it won't matter when I'm 75 in the nursing home, and I'm like, put me in, baby. I'm gonna fight that zombie horde. See if I can make it.
Futurama comes to mind, where VR is just for the old nursing home. So they're like, they sit in the cubicles, and then you go into VR to visit your grandparents, and they're just like on a rocker on a in a like a farmhouse, just like doing nothing with VR.
But enjoying every second.
Because they have you know, an older mentality. They don't want to go be, you know, VR creatures or whatever. They just want to like sit there and do nothing.
They're just chilling. They're like, I want to be home.
This is living the life.
I want to pet bagels and call it a day.
Yeah.
Oh man. Do they actually have gloves like that, like you're talking about, or?
They have them. You can buy dev kits for them. I don't know if any of the ones that I'm tracking are like commercially available. They're pretty cool. So like, my favorite is imagine you wear a regular glove, and attached to the glove on the back side are these armatures that like they kind of like arc out and then arc again, to like have a base at your wrist. Or some of them are a little further, some of them are in the back of the palm, but they provide resistance, so when you're grabbing something, it resists and it feels like it's on your hand, or like on the palm or the fingertips of your hand, and when you hold something, you know, you let go and it'll react to that. It's really cool, but you know, it's a glove. It's not something that I don't think most people would want to invest into. Also, you're going to have games that
support
that. I don't know if you could just like play any game like Half-Life, you know, you just pick up any item and like feel it. I don't know.
All right,
I guess
so
the physics are already there. I don't know.
So you're what you're talking about is actually kind of close to what I feel like is the next step of like wearing a glove, even though you're adding more accessories, which equals more money and then more things. That you know, there's negatives to it, but the positive is, you like we said, the immersion is the positive point. Like I need to feel like I'm picking up, like I need it, like if I'm shooting a gun, I don't want to feel like I'm holding a remote like this and I'm like,
yeah,
bang, You know, and I'm just hitting a button or something. You know, like I want it to feel like I'm holding the gun and I can hide
you want
behind.
the
Yeah, you know, like I want to the worst thing is, and I'm sure you guys have at least experienced a little bit of it. You're playing a game with shooting, right, in VR, and you've got I don't even have two things. We'll use the remote in my phone, right? And they're like, you have a shotgun now. Well, this is the shotgun, and then you have to aim it. This is how you aim it. It's like, and there's no.
It's the worst.
It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
I feel like it's gonna be gloves or the way they're gonna do it and make it additional pieces, but I also feel like they're just gonna start releasing a ridiculous amount of like, oh, here's a plastic gun, like the Wii shooter that came with like the Zelda's crossbow training
The
game.
problem,
And then
They
here's a
definitely have
baseball
those.
bat and a fishing rod,
yeah,
like the old N64 fishing rods. We're just going full circle.
The problem with that though is, so you have the goggles on, right? Say you got the gloves on. We'll say we're in this tape, right? You got these gloves on, you got your goggles on. Well, you're playing a game. It's like you're gonna have to have a backpack on you with all of the accessories on it, so you know where they are, and be like, I gotta find this gun. Unless they actually add some stuff where you can like see it, like say you put it on the ground, right? And you could see it on the ground. Obviously, that takes it away because
That breaks immersion.
yeah, it's definitely gonna be tough for them to figure it out.
I feel like the next step for VR is adding another sense outside of like visual and auditory. Like there needs to be a sense of feel or something else. And
Yeah.
I don't think we're getting smell-o-vision, so
I'm
sure.
gonna be licking some blueberries in the game. And
I sure hope
actually,
that we
dog
don't get
poop.
tased. But it has to like they have to add a sense of feeling to the game. Like you physically have to feel something. It's the only way I think it takes a real next step outside of making it better resolution cameras in the goggles and better tracking. Like it's the only way really we're gonna go forward.
Which turns into
bring
like a
that
full
up.
bodysuit, right?
Yeah, you bring that up, but feedback for your hands is a really good, especially if it completely replaces the controller, where your hands are just the controller.
Yeah, for sure.
That's huge because then you don't have to buy multiple things. But also the vision. I'm glad you brought that up because Brad mentioned previously that the PlayStation isn't like the best, but it's like a really good entry point. Well, the new PlayStation VR headset solves a major problem, which it takes the resolution and actually increases it to 4K or I guess 2K and I, but it saves on processing power by wherever it senses where your eyes are looking and it makes those the center point and then kind of blurs out the rest like your real eyes, so it can save on that processing and like make you feel more immersed.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be more of an issue than anything.
I hope not. I hope they've solved it.
I
because
hope
if
they get
have,
it right, but it feels like it's not going to be right.
yeah. Also, what happens? You know, like when a headset loses tracking now.
Yeah,
like,
and
you
then
get
it's
that,
just garbage.
You
and
get
everything.
that head break, disorientation where you're like, oh, where am I going? What happens whenever your eyes are doing like a gecko thing, or, where they're
I mean, I don't
What if-
personally have a lazy eye, but
What if I got a lazy eye? What's going on here? I'm looking at two trees.
but I just feel like
you get a lazy eye, so like me, your bad eye just like loses focus and it just goes black. It's just like, I don't know what to do with you.
Well, I'm a pirate now.
your eye fell
real
out. It's
immersive.
like hey, you got a bigger issue than having to worry about this screen. But I feel like I don't know. I obviously don't know the logistics of it, but they probably can't fit a 4K screen in there with the pixel size. But
Yeah.
it just feels cheap to me. But it's probably more expensive to do it the way they are. But I don't know. I'd rather just like not have them artificially blur. My eyes are bad enough already. I don't need them to make them feel worse.
Yeah, I would like to give it a shot because it does seem counterintuitive where you're gonna artificially blur. Now I get the savings on like efficiency, like you're not having to process the whole thing, but like, is it really gonna make a difference? Like, what if I have like hawk vision and I can see better than the next guy? So like my vision's like this, but they've got it programmed to like it's just a little awkward.
Yeah, and
I
there's
don't know.
no way everybody's like, what's the word for like side vision? I can't think of it at the
Peripheral?
moment. Yeah, the peripherals are
Mhm.
like equal. Like I feel like people definitely have different
Oh,
amounts
they
of
are.
like reaction to that. So there's gonna be people who look at it and like this is awful, and then there's gonna be other people who are like, oh, this is 4K.
I don't want to brag or nothing, but I'm gonna.
I don't
I
wanna
just
hear
got LASIK last year, and the
you still
doctor was
can't
like,
see.
"Oh wow, your peripheral vision is amazing."
Yeah, but the rest of your vision sucks, and it's still
Not
any better.
anymore. Look, watch this. I'm gonna edit it in. Don't worry. You guys laugh now.
They're better. I better see
I just
something.
caught my house on fire.
That's another promise that Bravo made that we'll see if it's added to the list.
Mhm.
It happens. It happens.
I think the haptic feedback on like a so to feel like you actually been hit by something. Obviously, you don't want to actually feel like you get punched.
No,
in the
I
chest,
want
right?
to feel like I got
Oh,
punched. I want like a dislocated jaw after playing.
We can
Fight
solve
Night.
that, Brad. We can solve that. Okay. You find me a fighting game, and I will help you.
All right,
make
yeah,
this
yeah.
dream
So
come
I'm
true.
sitting there and I like block it. Then all of a sudden I get punched in the gut and Bravo. Is, what? All right, I'm done.
Bravo's sitting there squared up, like watching the TV screen. It's like Jesus, Bravo.
Joe's
That's how
hiding in the
it
corner
is.
with a bat.
Like I'm playing Resident Evil, I just grab like an actual handgun and start shooting my walls. That's the only way
Yep.
to play.
Yeah, it's
I feel like the gloves that Bravo were mentioning are like a really good idea, but I feel like I need the touch on the inside of my hand. Like I want to physically feel, not like just have
Yep.
resistance.
I don't know how they're going to do it because
I
what
want to touch a
I-
stove and have third-degree burns.
Well, no, they have it on the inside of the hand, but it uses the force, like it anchors on the back of your hand to like pull a force. So on the inside of your hand, there's teeny tiny like air bubbles, like sewed air bubbles. So when you grab something, they basically get pumped full of air and resist. So like if you're grabbing a cup, in VR, it knows the physics of that, so it's gonna start to resist your hand right around where the cup is. Those are the best ones that I've seen as far as like feedback go.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. I don't think we're there technologically yet, and I just feel like
Yes.
the first
Yeah.
iteration of these are gonna have so many technical issues, and you're gonna go through like 6 sets of them before.
Yeah, which brings me to my next point, where the future of VR perhaps isn't virtual reality, but augmented reality, where it acts as an open door to the general public. Because to augment reality, you just need like a really cool set of glasses, or
Google
like
glasses.
a really cool phone or something. We don't talk about that.
Did you say the Google
But-
glasses?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
was
remember
gonna say,
seeing
I'm
them
like,
in
I
like
remember.
2014 that were so cool, and then never hearing about them again.
Well, they were a
Yep.
little ahead of their time. I have a cool story about that that we're going to get to. But so augmented reality is the door that needs to be opened, where people play these augmented games, which I am so ever since I was a child, a wee little lad, I wanted to play like card games with my friends, where when you slam the card down in Yu-Gi-Oh, the monster like actually erupts from the card, or we all played Legos as kids, so like virtual little Lego guys.
It's like you had
that
to
you
build
can-
the Legos, and it became this big building.
Yeah, like like a 4X game on any surface, like the table behind me. I just had like my clone army on the table, and I could like highlight them and be like, okay, squad 1 move to the floor, and then you guys would move your squad and like just have them fight in the middle of the room. That's what I would like. But you get that technology, you get people interested in that, then you're gonna get the VR. You're gonna transition to the VR space, which is, the dream, the goal.
Yeah.
So
I want full dive. I want it to be Sword Art Online.
yeah, Brad.
I want to die
your
if I
favorite
die
show.
in the game.
Yeah, I'm right there.
Yeah.
It is one that you should check out, though, Brad.
It is pretty good.
I'll do some research.
He won't watch it because of what it is, but it fits
I'll
perfectly.
on a scale from 1 to 10. How nerdy we talking here?
Nerdy, probably an 8.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Honestly,
else
Brad,
we do is like a 9. So
honestly, just watch the first episode. I think
maybe
might
2.
be the first 2, to just get the story. Just get the story down, because it's worth having to reference with the rest of the nerd community. But I just have one. Go ahead.
Although it's broken.
Hey, look at that.
Right on
Sailor
top
Moon.
of
No,
it's
yes,
Sword Art
it is.
Online.
Looks like Sailor Moon, man. I don't know.
Apparently that Funko
Oh.
Pop was worth a lot of money in box, but
Brad,
I broke it.
what just happened?
How big is worth?
I think he left.
Oh,
He was
can
in
your
here.
cat? Can your cat open your door?
Yeah, he can. Well, if I leave it, I have to leave it open, like cracked,
Or else he'll
So-
just
or he
claw it
scratches.
out.
And let me tell you, it's
Biggles got
really
claws.
annoying. He got claws, and he tears up the doors. And let me tell you, what's even scarier is Bethany yelling about the cat clawing the door. Really
Okay,
frightening.
I've thought
Then
about it.
She starts
You-
clawing me.
You can't have
Yeah.
my rocking chair. You're not allowed. Biggles is gonna like smell the age old Bravo family, and he's just gonna kill. Just
Yeah, he's gonna
you can't have it.
dump right on it too.
So back on track. I just have one more thing to talk about, and that is the industrial, like corporate application of VR and AR. I kind of have like a unique angle on this, where I do a lot of 3D design work at my real human adult job. And my company actually has a division where we design things in VR, and we have another division that uses Google Glasses with operators. So like factory line machinery, technicians that fix those kind of machinery, they actually wear these glasses, and they just do like 2 things. They reference PDFs, and they reference like videos and like basic stuff like that. So like an operator can be like basically sitting inside of a machine, because you have to be able to reach the components, and step by step in augmented reality going through like, okay, gotta cross this wire, gotta do this thing. It's nothing cool like a
But it is
like a-
really cool.
like a Stark
Sounds-
Industries overlay where it's like, okay, you know, like this wire goes here. Like it's still just a
It's
manual.
essentially like instead of setting your phone in an engine block,
Mhm.
you're like it's just in your face.
And honestly, the Google Glasses have thrived in that industry. And there's some there's like one competitor that's not Google Glasses that I can't think of the name of. But then the VR stuff, where you're physically designing in a virtual space. So you've got the headset on, and let's say I'm designing a cup or something, and you use your hands to like just make a circle, extrude the part, define the edges, and like you just go to town. Like it's pretty cool, and I don't know if it I don't know if it saves a lot of time, but it does
But it
help.
looks cool.
It does help motivate people to go to work.
Yeah,
Now-
that's my thing. I feel like there's definitely benefits. I don't know that like 3D modeling is the way, but I feel like I originally wanted to be an architect in high school, and so like I went through all the architecture courses and worked with AutoCAD and all of that. And I feel like VR would have like a good impact in that type of field where like you go in, you design this big building for somebody, and like you're like, okay, here, put on these goggles and we're gonna walk you through the entire building and show it off, as opposed to just showing you pictures or a little video.
Yeah. Which doesn't give you like the full scale of things a lot
Yeah.
of times. Which is a lot of times my customers, they don't understand the scale of things. So, you bring it up in the CAD and it gives them a better view of it. So if you bring it up in virtual reality, they're really going to get a good view of it.
Yeah, and like
then you can watch
scale
your
it.
customer fall because they think they can lean against the wall or something.
Yeah, this is good.
But I just thought of something off what you said, Joe. I can't believe I didn't think about it beforehand. But virtual live events. You know, in the world we live in today, with the stuff going on, you have the opportunity to go to virtual concerts, virtual sporting events, virtual everything. You know, where they have these cameras that are basically they're not 360, but they're like
enough.
290. You can't like look straight down.
Even if they are like 360, like
Yeah.
like a
but,
Google car, essentially.
Yeah, but they set them up in different points of concerts, like in the nosebleed section, the front, the middle, the top.
And you
and
can buy your ticket, and
yeah, they've done it. Not to the extent that I would like to see, but they have done it, and they should continue to do it.
Definitely something that is probably gonna happen. Because
Yeah, it's a pretty good idea for sure.
Like, what if all of us could go to a Rocket League championship in VR together and have like a suite room? You know, like
well,
like just
I
us.
feel like more it's gonna be like they'll put like X amount of random ones, and they're just gonna sell an infinite amount of tickets that everyone's in the same camera but could operate it themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
Which
For
is
sure.
just gonna make them ridiculous amounts of money because they could sell
Oh,
an
yeah.
infinite amount of tickets to a sold out event.
And on top of that, you're probably gonna end up in getting better seating,
Yeah.
in quotes, by doing it that way than if you were live
Yeah.
there.
Like essentially they take like one camera and just jam it in the front row, and they're like, "Oh, this is $1,000," and then they take
Yep.
one up in Peanut Heaven, and it's like, "This is $20," and 800 people are in the one up in Peanut Heaven, all sitting looking at the same view, and then there's like the 4 people who spent $1,000 to get a front row seat, which no.
Reminds me
No.
a little bit of like how the Fortnite one was, right?
Yeah.
Like that'll with the Travis Scott concert, and
which was
they did
awesome.
something else. Yeah,
Marshmallow.
yeah. So I think that stuff is definitely gonna be something we'll see, and will be pretty exciting to see. Like, especially because of how visually crazy the Travis Scott one was specifically. That one comes to my mind right now. It was pretty cool to look at. So I mean, I would pay a little bit of money to experience something like that if it was long enough. I mean, I think it was only like 10, 15
Well, it was
minutes or
also
something like that.
free, and like you literally just dropped into like a normal Fortnite game and would
Yeah.
go watch it. Whereas we're talking about something like in an actual stadium.
Yeah, that's
Like,
that's what I'm
say,
thinking too. If you-
Taylor Swift comes down to the stadium and they just stick cameras randomly and start selling tickets to it.
Yeah, just off the top of your head, Joe. T Swift. She just
He swizzle, baby.
She's
So-
got full residence in Joe's mind. Don't get me wrong.
The number one artist that comes
I
to mind.
was-
Taylor
I was
Swift.
arguing with a Discord member yesterday about where Taylor Swift was from. So she was like the first artist that came to mind. He kept arguing with me that she was from Connecticut. And I'm like, no, she's from Pennsylvania. And he just wouldn't have it. But
There's
she's from West Reading, Pennsylvania. It's by Philadelphia, if anyone's interested.
Oh, there you go.
Joe also knows a lot of facts about Taylor Swift too. If you don't,
Well,
know.
because I Googled it. And it's because like it's a big deal here that Taylor Swift's
Well,
from Pennsylvania.
I went to high school with her. Have I mentioned that before?
she's my third girlfriend.
She's older than me, so she I'm pretty sure was graduated before I got to high school.
Nice. Yeah. What was the? Yeah. So those are the live events, but then you have the virtual events. Like, imagine going to a League of Legends World Championship, and you can just like float over the map anywhere you wanted, and just watch direct
Can
review.
I ride Mundo's back?
Yeah. You could
So
attach
big.
yourself to Mundo's cleaver if you wanted, and you just as he throws you through the air.
Beautiful.
But to be fair, I'm not gonna have to imagine going to the League of Legends World Championship because I'm going.
Yeah, as a spectator. No.
Yeah. No,
No, he's actually. A
I'm gonna be
professional, you don't know
competing,
this.
Uh,
but not for the actual World Championship.
The most drunk spectator in all of the. Joe's got that down pat already. He's like, I've begun today.
It's not for another year. Free gaming.
For
Pre-game,
pre-game.
baby.
At the stadium a year early. This is my seat.
tailgate.
We're tailgating.
I gotta
Tailgate,
find
baby.
good seats. All right, gang. That's all the episode we got, unless you boys got something else. Like and
But-
subscribe. Let us know if the way we look surprised you. I don't know if you've seen us before, if you've been listening to the podcast. We're
If you
excited
watched
to have
our
this.
fist, let's try.
We've had this brand new thing you're seeing, which is really cool. Shout out to the artist. He's a really good guy to work with.
Name's T-Pain.
T-Pain. Like, subscribe. Shout us on Twitter at envision_org. And we will catch you next time.
I love you.